Reports are coming out of Yerevan that Prime Minister Serzh Sargsyan has bowed to the pressure of the mass protests that have engulfed the city for days and stepped down. Massive street protests continued in the Armenian capital of Yerevan and other large cities in the country on April 23, following a swelling of the crowds over the weekend. Yet what likely tipped the balance for the Prime Minister, who previously insisted that the country needed him, was the start of defections from the army to join the demonstrations. This meant Sargsyan could no longer count on the military to crush the protests. Yerevan-based media reported late afternoon that Sargsyan had stepped down. Breaking news: Serj Sargsyan has resigned, tweeted digital media platform EVN News. The news was also carried by News.am, Armen Press and other local news services. Tens of thousands of Armenian anti-government demonstrators on the evening of April 22 defied a police warning and reassembled on Yerevan's Republic Square after officers earlier in the day detained protest leader Nicole Pashinyan shortly after talks between him and Sargsyan got nowhere. 10 days of demonstrations have taken aim at the appointment of Sargsyan as Prime Minister of the newly constituted Parliamentary Republic of Armenia following his two presidential terms, which were marked in the eyes of many critics by unreasonable levels of corruption and economic mismanagement in the impoverished nation. Over the last 10 days, street protests have been building in the Armenian capital Yerevan, calling for the resignation of Sargsyan. Protesters object to the constitutional changes made by Sargsyan in his previous job as president that gives the power to the prime minister. On Sunday, the Armenian MP and de facto protest leader Pashinyan had a 3-minute meeting with Sargsyan to present the crowd's demands and was promptly arrested by security forces. The crowds are back on the street today and tensions are high, raising speculation about a possible color revolution in Armenia. Soldiers join the protest. The chances that the protests will turn into a color revolution also increased when 200 soldiers joined the marchers, suggesting the authorities' hold on the situation is starting to slip, reported Radio Free Liberty on social media. If you're a leader and soldiers are now joining popular protests against you, your problems just got significantly worse, Rory Challens, CNN correspondent tweeted. The government confirmed the soldiers who joined the student march in the morning were part of the Professional Army Corps Blue Berets and warned that they will be punished severely. Students immobilized Yerevan. Meanwhile, groups of students took over and blocked intersections throughout the capital, bringing the city to a standstill. Student march continues in downtown Yerevan. Several major streets shut down by protesters. Soldiers joined students' marches and taking place in cities of Gyumri, Yerevan, Ashtarak, tweeted EVN report. There are acts of civil disobedience taking place all over Yerevan right now. Intersections are closed, streets are blocked, students were closing roads as a way to pressure the government into releasing Pashinyan. At the major crossing of the 7 Gagarin highway closed by protesters, police and state officials tried to reopen the road by negotiating with the demonstrators. The chaos spread when the authorities also started blocking roads. The mayor of the city of Massis blocked the highway to Yerevan with 10 to 15 cars to prevent people from joining the protests in the capital, according to social media reports. More opposition leaders arrested, then released. There were reports on social media that government forces had arrested 3 members of the opposition: Pashinyan, Sasan Mikhaelian and Ararat Mirzoyan. Pashinyan was arrested on the evening of April 22 and held in jail overnight, despite having parliamentary immunity from arrest and prosecution. The other 2 were arrested in the morning of April 23, but all 3 were released later the same day on Monday, according to reports.